19th District since 1999, which is Milwaukee's lakefront and east side there. And he had pretty interesting credentials, I thought. So I'm going to tell you just a couple of the things I read about him that were probably of particular interest to our group anyway. One is he's received the Openness in Government Award from Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council, which was something that all of us progressives are interested in. The other thing is he's been named a conservation champion by Legal Conservation Voters. He's been named that several times, so he's a guy that's close to our heart and the things he protects and the things he stands for. So hopefully, let's give him a welcome. Welcome, Jon Richards.
Thanks. It's great to be with you tonight. My name is Jon Richards, and I'm running to be your next Attorney General. As you heard, I currently serve in the legislature, but I want to tell you a little bit about my background, why I'm running, and the choice that we have before us in this election, especially this year. I was born and raised in Waukesha. My mom was a nurse at the local hospital, later worked for Planned Parenthood, and she was a Democrat. My dad sold advertising at the local radio station and went on to be the chairman of the Waukesha Chamber of Commerce, and I imagine he was a Republican. So growing up, I've heard lots of debates at the kitchen table about where we should be going, and they had very, very strong views. But I took from those discussions a number of very important lessons that have informed my life going forward, and to me really reflect the best of Wisconsin's values. And that is that you need to work with people who you might not agree with all the time. You need to be true to what you believe in and have principled beliefs and really argue for those beliefs. And you need to work together to make the community a better place, especially work together to make our schools work well. And those are the values that I grew up with. And my wife and I have a 6-year-old. Asia and I both have young kids about the same age. And we're trying to impart those values to our little boy. And they've certainly informed my work as a lawyer for the last 20 years and as a member of the legislature for the last 15 years. In my work in the legislature, I've done quite a bit of work in a number of areas, but it's a reflection of my values and where I think Wisconsin needs to be. That's why I have a 100% lifetime labor voting record. That's why I've been recognized as a voice for choice with Planned Parenthood, recognized as a conservation champion by the League of Conservation Voters, recognized as an open government champion by the Freedom of Information Council. I think all those things reflect the mainstream view in Wisconsin of where we need to be going in our state. And in this election, now that we have a chance to see where we're going with the Attorney General's office, it's a chance to reflect on where that office has been over the last few years. So I think it's a real departure from the values of our state. Here we have an Attorney General who turned his back on corruption when he was asked by 5 local district attorneys to investigate what was going on with the Walker administration. Just refused to participate. I think that was wrong. I think the Office of Attorney General needs to be someone who's even-handed in applying the law, and if someone's breaking the law, I don't care what party it is, it's the Attorney General's job to go in there and make sure people are held accountable and then we investigate what's going on. This Attorney General has gone to court personally to uphold Act 10, which was the largest, the biggest assault on labor rights in the country and certainly in Wisconsin's history. And he's personally gone to the Supreme Court to try to keep that in place. He's argued to make sure that women are denied access to health care. And was one of the first people to file a lawsuit about the Affordable Care Act, going on Fox News literally the day after that passed to block that from being the law. I think those are all things that are a real break with Wisconsin's tradition. I think now that we have a chance to re-examine the Attorney General's office, it's a chance to have that office work in line and in concert with Wisconsin's values and the best traditions of our state. And when we talk about public safety, I think we do need to address that in our state. And I'm glad that we're in a place now where we have a pretty broad agreement on a number of things. We need to be tough on people who are violent and put in jail. We need to make sure that we're expanding the use of alternative courts like drug treatment courts, veterans courts, mental health courts that are doing such a great job all around Wisconsin, certainly here in Rock County. And that's been something that we need to expand. We need to make sure that we address the scourge of heroin that's affecting every corner of our state, certainly here in Rock County. I've had a chance to talk to David O'Leary, your excellent district attorney, about some of the challenges that you face here with heroin. Human trafficking. When I was in Janesville a couple of weeks ago, the front page of the Janesville Gazette talked about human trafficking and what a huge problem that is all around Wisconsin, especially in places that are near the border and near a freeway. It's a scourge on our society, and now the internet is becoming a gateway for people to prey on children. That's something we need to look at. We need to crack down on sex predators in Wisconsin. That's why it was disturbing to see what happened a couple of weeks ago when we heard a report about a almost year-long lag in information that we got from people who are preying on our children. That the Department of Justice here didn't act on that quickly, and as a result, one guy went out to sexually assault a 15-year-old boy in a locker room. Another guy was charged by the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office, and unfortunately, the result of that, even after he was caught with 5 felony counts of possessing child pornography, didn't spend a day in jail, and got a suspended sentence, and didn't have to register as a sex offender. He went on to be a teenage or adolescent drug abuse counselor. So when you have things fall through the cracks, very bad things happen, especially happen to our children. And that's something that we can never tolerate. In this election, I think it's important that we go out and run an aggressive campaign. That's why our campaign was the very first out of the gate. You can see that on the back of the sheet that you have there, we've been endorsed by more than 100 public officials from around Wisconsin, including Deb Colstein here in Janesville, and Janice Ringhand, and many, many others, who share the belief that we need to run an aggressive campaign to win, and that we need to work and advance Wisconsin's values. And no matter where I am, whether it's in Rhinelander or Tomahawk or Kenosha or Janesville or Platte or Milwaukee or Madison, I'm hearing the same things about where we need to be going in our state. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of differences between me and my Republican opponent, if I should go through the primary. My Republican opponent does not believe that we should be doing all we can to keep guns out of the hands of violent people. I authored the bill that requires background checks on all gun purchases in Wisconsin to make sure that if you are a convicted felon, if you've been involuntarily committed for mental illness, if you have a judicial order on your head saying you shouldn't have a gun, you shouldn't be able to get a gun. He opposes that. My Republican opponent believes that we should have limited access to health care. He's talking about filing yet another health care lawsuit, this time about birth control. I believe that we should be standing up for women's right to choose, and as your Attorney General, I will make sure that I will keep going with my lifetime commitment to women's right to choose and expanding access to health care. My Republican opponent first chided me for talking too much about the environment. I think that our environment is one of the very best things we have going for us in our state. And we talk about clean air, clean water, a land that is intact. We need to be using the Attorney General's office to make sure that every child in this state, every person in this state has clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and that nobody can come into this state and make a quick buck, skirt our laws, and harm our environment. My Republican opponent also tried to chastise me for standing up for consumers. And that's something that we really have to use the Attorney General's office to defend. In a time when we have payday loan scams, when we have mortgage companies going crazy and resulting in a huge foreclosure problem in this country, in this state, in Rock County, we need to have the Attorney General's office out there being aggressive to make sure that consumers are getting a fair shake and someone standing up for people. So there are a number of differences that we're going to be bringing out to the public all around Wisconsin. And if you believe that we should have the Attorney General stand up for our values, to be the people's lawyer, to advocate for and advance the best values in Wisconsin, I would welcome you to be part of our campaign. And our campaign website is johnforwisconsin.com. Our Facebook page is Jon Richards for Attorney General. And I would welcome your support, welcome your questions tonight. Later on, you can see how to contact us. I hope that you send us your questions, and we'd certainly be glad to answer them. And with that, we'd love to hear what you have to say.